What's up, y'all? It's me. Now, I was just live talking about this, but I think I got reported, so it is what it is. We'll make a pre-recorded video, and I will try to avoid whatever got me in trouble. I'm pretty sure it's because I showed my gun or my firearm, so I'm gonna not do that this time, and then we'll keep it rolling. But in my cup today, it's gonna be pineapple juice, one of my favorites. Can't drink enough pineapple juice. Big fan of it. Today's Monday. You may or may not know, every day of the week is named after and governed by a ruling planet or a celestial body. So Monday is ruled by the moon. You could call it Moon Day. So if you have a t-shirt with the moon on it, if you have some silver jewelry, it's not a bad day to wear it. Silver is moon metal, the same way that gold is sun metal. Something to think about. Not a bad idea to honor the ruler for the day. Now, as the thumbnail and the title of this video do say, today I'm going to talk about my most prized possession. To show you real quick, I have everything in the thumbnail with me, just so you know I'm not posting other people's pictures or other people's stuff, because a lot of times people will lie. So it's important that you know that I'm not doing that, right? I don't have anything to prove, but I'm happy to run through it, show y'all. PS5 controller, I do enjoy that console quite a bit, and the 4K TV it runs through. Rolex. My car keys, I like my Camaro a lot. Proud to say I'm riding Chevy every day. And a little bit of money, right? Might seem like a little bit to you, might seem like a lot to you. Some people would be proud of it, some people might not be, right? But these are all material possessions that some people are after. Some people trade a lot of things for. Some people get very easily. Now, first thing I'll tell you is my most prized possession, none of these things. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy to have these things, right? I went through hell and back to be able to get them, so it's nice that I have them. But my most prized possession is how I get and have everything else that I have. You may have heard the expression before, health is wealth. People underestimate what that means. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health is worth more than money, truly. Anybody that has money that's truly worth anything also has these things. This is why you may see or hear certain people talk about the fact that it doesn't matter what you have if you're out of shape, right? If you're not taking care of your body and your mind to actually be there for your people and be strong and be yourself for as long as possible. If you're sick in the mind, if you don't know how to act, know how to treat people, know what's real, understand how to be kind, have a presence that actually heals and adds something to the people that you care about, it's not worth money. You don't want to trade that for money, right? So what I need to talk about is my most prized possession. Now, it's not my muscle. It's not my money. It's not any of these things. My most prized possession is my spirit and my mind and how that connects to something like my body. And the fact that I have finally cleaned all three of those things up as best I can. That's not to say there's not more work for me to do later, but the bulk of the trash has been taken out, if you get what I mean. My most prized possession is my soul, which right now is linked to my sobriety. Very proud of these things. When I was younger, I believed I didn't have a soul. And maybe at the time I didn't. And that was because I had given it up. I had traded it. I had sold it. Now, what a lot of people will lead you to believe is once you give that up, you can never get it back. This is another lie. All you have to do to get your soul back is to return that payment you were given plus interest. So I'll give you an example. I guess I should draw a line there. Unless you've ever done something like severely hurt a child or done something which I see as unforgivable, at that point, unfortunately, you are doomed. And I'm not going to pretend you're not. But we'll move on past that. So assuming that what you've done is redeemable, right? Which I can speak firsthand from experience. I've been able to redeem myself, reclaim my soul, and it's something I'm very grateful for and I probably can't even take credit for. I believe my spiritual guardians, the guardians that I have guided me to not only not make the ultimate unforgivable mistakes, but also to reclaim what is truly mine, or ours, if they're my ancestors, right? Now, I'll be specific, because that may be a little abstract. When I was younger, I gave my soul to drugs. It was hard to get back. When I was younger, I gave my soul to a career that ate away at my soul. Now, for me, that career was advertising. The version of me that works in advertising is not a man that I respect. He did whatever he had to do to be the best, and that led him somewhere that was not respectable. Now, you may not know this about me. I made it into what you could call the big leagues. I worked with high-level, creative people on things like Super Bowl ads and big campaigns for big companies, right? Now, I found out when you're in a competitive situation, sometimes you have to take bad business from bad people. Now, maybe there's a creative agency out there that strictly does purely spiritual work. And if that's true, God bless y'all. I didn't find that. I wasn't a part of that, right? I was not the owner of the organization that I was in. So I did not have a choice on which contacts, which clients, which accounts I was and wasn't put on. If you've never found yourself in a position where you have to make somebody who's truly evil or that you don't respect a lot of money just to get your paycheck, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you do, you know exactly what I mean, man. Now, how did I get that back? I had to give up everything that job gave me. Whatever approval I got from whatever family members, whatever social status and elevation it gave me, whatever money it was paying me, whatever boost to my self-esteem I thought it gave me, the clout you could call it, right? I had to give all that back. Yeah, you might look at me and think, man, I can't imagine you in a suit. I can't imagine you with a haircut like you're a news anchor and no facial hair. Well, I did it. And I was good at it, man. But that wasn't the thing. It wasn't about that. Every single day I shaved off a little piece of my soul. And it got to be one point I woke up and I had to get high just to go to work. I couldn't do that job without kind of turning my brain off, without turning my body off. And then things start to slip, man. Personally, for me, every bad decision I made led me farther and deeper into a world of drugs. So ultimately, it was drugs that really had my soul for a long time. Every dollar I made, every day at work, at first, the drugs went towards that. And then it flipped. That all went towards the drugs, man. So how did I get my soul back? First, I dropped the job. And then eventually, through necessity, because I had a near-death experience and a real health scare, I had to stop doing all the drugs that I thought I would just do forever. I had to. That was a little over 6 weeks ago. right? So I'm 30 years old, about to turn 31. Gave my soul up when I was about 16. It took me 14 years to fully get rid of it and then fully get it back. I'm still doing what I can. But the thing I can tell you is my most valuable possession is my freedom. Now let's break that down the way that somebody might break down scripture. What is my freedom? Well, first, for me to have my freedom, I have to be myself. You can have all the money in the world, all the mobility in the world, right? You can buy a plane ticket anywhere with anybody, wear anything, drive anything. But if you're not yourself, none of it belongs to you. And on some level, you know that, man. That's not the same thing as earning it for yourself and being yourself. If every day you have to wake up, put on a mask and be somebody else, that's not freedom. And I no disrespect to people who have to do that, or they think so, to feed their family, to feed themselves. In all honesty, that's a lie, but I understand how a lot of people get sucked into it and trapped into it. Because when I was trapped in the lie, the devil was trying to claim my soul, I believed I had no other choice. That's what I told myself. I have to do this. I have no choice. I have to follow orders. I have to march forward. Whatever it was that I told myself to be able to do it for another minute, another hour, another day, man. So, what is my most prized possession? It's everything I don't have. I try not to judge people, but when I see somebody with all those things I used to have try to look down on me, it hurts my heart, man, because I know what they really gave up and what they really don't have. Now, I'll never get to go back and get all the things that were lost from me. Time with people who are gone now when I wasn't myself, right? So I didn't really get that time with them. Memories that I could have made if I was actually myself. Mistakes that I wouldn't have made. Bridges that might not be burnt. All those things, right? That may be gone and chalked. But the thing that's never gone, unless you cross that irredeemable line, in my opinion, is your soul. You get that back. And once you get that back, at least for me, it feels like maybe starting over, a fresh start, a restart, right? I'm doing now at 30 what I should have got started on at about 17 or 18. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes that might make me feel behind certain people. And then I look around and I realize how many people I'm actually ahead of, and I just want to help them forward to get to where I am. My most prized possession is the fact that I can have anything at all, that I can accumulate these things and not do with them what I would have done with them a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, right? I would have taken all this stuff, turned it into cash, put it in my nose, or put it in my veins, or put it in the air as smoke. And then once that dust cleared, you know, once the dust settled, once the smoke cleared, once the high wears off, it's all gone. And it's still just you and that man in the mirror that you were trying to hide from or pretend wasn't there. My most prized possession is certainly my sobriety. My most prized possession is certainly the fact that now I wake up and my brain is mine. My body is mine. When I look in the mirror, I see me. You might not like me. You might not agree with me. But because of the choices I've made, I exist. You get to know me, and you can tell I'm unique, man. I'm not like everybody else. There's certain people that might be similar to me. We're all human. But I can tell you what, when I was a cog in the wheel, you couldn't have noticed me. I went out of my way to not be noticed because I hated it. Now, when I dress the way I want, I speak the way I want, I look the way that I want, and I do the things that I want, I didn't even realize people would notice. I just did what I want. Some people hate me, man. They hate me a lot. I'll quote the great Kanye West. Anybody that hates me hates themselves. And unfortunately, those people might not ever get to meet themselves, because if they don't reverse the transaction that I have, they're going to follow all the way through, live life as somebody else, and not even get to reap the rewards. Imagine you wake up one day and deep down in your soul, you know your boss, your romantic partner or partners, your children, your parents, every single person you know, they love somebody else, somebody that you're not, instead of you. Now, all you can do is blame yourself, because that's what you gave them. There's a big difference, man. So, my most prized possession, as much as I love the muscle, the tattoos I can now pay for, right? Something like these glasses. I used to walk around without glasses in a fog. A little bit of cash. Video game system. And the time to enjoy it all. I wouldn't have any of those things if I didn't have a spiritual awakening, if I didn't have a moral awakening, if I didn't choose to give up all those other things that want me to not be me, that want me to not have this. I would have never made my music. I would have never wrote my books. I might not have something like my cat in my life, which gives my life more meaning than I can explain to you. And if I did, I wouldn't be the right person, man. I already feel very guilty and ashamed of all the minutes and hours and days I spent as somebody else. If I was ever around my little brother, if I was ever around my grandmothers before they left this earth, may they rest in peace. My grandfather, may he rest in peace. I never got to meet my other grandfather. He sounded like an amazing man, though. I wasn't even me. And now they're gone. As much as I'd like to call them, apologize, or just talk to them or be myself, that's gone, man. That's gone. Anybody who I was supposed to help, who I was supposed to love, who I was supposed to see, I was so blinded by anger, hatred, and drugs, I lost that opportunity, and that might not come back, right? And that's what you have to live with. Because the reality of life is actions have consequences. So I'm not saying everything is perfect, but I'm saying I'm very grateful. I have myself back. I have my soul back, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. One of the things that's difficult about shedding the costume at the giant costume party and showing up as yourself with no mask on is there might be certain people that liked you better with that mask on or with that costume on. And you got to dig deep into yourself and say, man, I guess that's not my friend. I guess that's not my family member. I guess that's not my lover. I guess those people really aren't what I thought they were to me. Because now that I'm myself, they don't want anything to do with me. Or they look down on me. Or they judge me. Or they want to take something from me. Right? I've noticed that some people might feel betrayed. You know, no disrespect to any of my real friends. But I could feel that some people feel betrayed. That I don't get high anymore. And I'm not fake enough to pretend that I don't want them to get high anymore either. Because I feel what it's like on this side of things. Maybe I look like a hypocrite. Because if you saw me, I got higher than high for a long time. You might think, damn, how do you get to do that and then just sit here? Trust me, there's no privilege. Every single one of those actions has large consequences. And I've been lucky enough to observe some people who never made the mistakes that I made, who never traded their soul to drugs, to a career that they really weren't themselves in. They gave up that money, they gave up that good feeling, they gave up that social currency, right? I had a lot of people pretend to be my friends so that we could do those drugs together. I had a lot of people pretend to be my friends so that we could make that dirty money together, right? The reality is, without that evil binding force, we might want nothing to do with each other. But the beautiful thing about something like getting your soul back, being yourself, be healthy in mind and body and spirit, is for the first time ever, you actually get to have those things. You get to have real friendship. You get to have real love. You get to look in the mirror and feel real pride and respect and dignity. You know that you're going somewhere that's worth going. So if anybody starts to follow you, you don't think to yourself, damn, I wish they didn't notice me. I wish they weren't following me. I wish they weren't taking a page out of my book. It's a good feeling. 1,000 bricks come off your back. And I'll tell you right now, the 4 or 5 bricks that you do have to carry around, that's real responsibility and real discipline and real dignity, that's a way easier load to carry than all that bullshit that just accumulates 1 brick at a time. You can get it back. You can give it up. Anybody who's on the path that I'm on knows what I'm talking about. If you're a couple steps behind me on it, I was there. I'm not better than you, right? If you're a couple steps ahead of me on it, please help me out. Show me that next step a little bit, maybe. We've all got to help each other. But the reality of the situation is, my most prized possession is not this. My most prized possession is not this. It's not this. And as much fun as I have on this damn thing, it's not this either. My most prized possession is my health, is my soul, is my sobriety. Somebody signs up for my coaching, I'm not a hypocrite anymore, because I'll tell you right now, everybody I ever coached, I said, don't get high, don't do steroids. And then I went and did it. And I might have used the pain and the negativity in my life to say, here's why you don't want to do it. But that was still being a hypocrite, man. Now I'm more qualified than ever to be a coach. Because as proud as I am of the fact that I've had hundreds of clients and not one of them has ever done steroids, even though a handful have come to me and basically thought I was the guy that was going to put a needle in their ass or something. I gave them the reality of it. I said, here's what it's really like. Here's the pros and the cons. You sure you want to do this? And they said, you know what? I don't think I want to do that anymore. I said, what's your goal? They said, here's my goal. I said, you know, you could have that and keep your soul. And they trusted me because they understood. Maybe you don't want to be where I am and do what I'm doing. But that's not the same thing as me making it out of there and telling you it's better on the other side. I might have had a little bit bigger arms. I might have had a little more cap on my delts. I might have had some bigger veins, right? But I had to give up an awful lot. Now, I'll speak very honestly and candidly. I don't judge people. If you do what I did, fine. The only time I think it's acceptable to use anabolic steroids is if you are competing at something at the professional level where the people you're competing against are also using it. Professional bodybuilders, professional athletes, where the members of the other team are using those things. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's not worth it. That's your decision to make. But I can tell you, I already know what it feels like a little bit to win whatever you think your championship is. And then when it's time to go and enjoy that with the people that you love, you don't get to because you gave everything to that. You might forget why you entered it in the first place. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I started doing steroids, I didn't have a cat. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have women in my life. I didn't have a close relationship with, you know, any younger males that were looking up to me. I didn't have any clients. I didn't have anything to lose is what I felt like. But I had my soul a little bit. I had my truth, my authenticity in myself. Just like when I used to put those drugs in my nose and feel a feeling that you're not really supposed to ever feel. Life's not supposed to feel like that. If you want to cheat the system, I'll ask you if you've ever played a video game. Once you put those cheat codes in, it's fun for a minute. 2 minutes, maybe 5, maybe 10. But then what you do is you break the whole game. You ruin the whole game for yourself, man. The whole point is a bit of a challenge. The whole point is once you win, you earned it. It feels like an accomplishment. The whole point is you're actually present and there. If you're somewhere else and somebody else is in your body, some other spirit has possessed your body, somebody else's thoughts are in your mind, you're gone. If you're in that dark place where you think you want to be gone, all you want is a change, man. All you want is a change. And I can tell you right now, don't give up something you really have for something that you don't even want or need. And that you would make that trade back in a heartbeat. Because the thing that I've seen is some people aren't as lucky as me. Some people lose their life during that scare. And that's it. There's no trade back. That's it. So the thing I'll tell you is don't count on luck. Don't count on skill. Just make the right decision. And don't take on any costs that you're not willing to pay in full. There's no plea deal. There's no way to rat your way out of this one. You know what I mean? Trust me. If you have your soul, if you have even a shred of it, hold on to that and use that like a fishing line to pull the rest of it back in. If you think that nobody will love you without that money, if you think that nobody will love you without that muscle, if you think nobody will love you without that social status, that comes from whatever it is that you gave up, you already know deep down, that's what's already happening. Because how can somebody love you if they never even met you? How can you love yourself if you never even met yourself yet? It's a serious question. Something to think about. That's probably enough for today. Prometheus out.